All right, let's go. Welcome to eCom Raw Reality episode 12, and in this one we will talk about Meta ads, Facebook ads, probably the biggest advertising company out there right now, and we will talk about ABO, CBO, Advantage Plus. And if you want, I guess, some proof that I pretty much know what I'm talking about, I'm definitely handling even today a store Facebook ad account that right now, as you can see, let me see if there's anything that you can or can't see. So this store right now is generating around 29k, and it's of course not just one thing that works, but right now I would say after a lot of years of actually looking at Facebook ads each and every hour, there is some logic behind it. And the thing is that anything will work, meaning that you can win with ABO, you can win with CBO, you can win with Advantage Plus. And I guess if anyone is a beginner, let's start off with what each one means. So ABO, to just summarize it, means that you are basically testing each ad or ad set, to be more precise, with your own particular budget, meaning that you decide, I want to spend $200 on this ad, I want to spend $100 on this one, and this depends on a lot of factors, right? For example, if you know that you sell to men and women, you might spend more on men and less on women because you maybe know that men actually spend more, right? So it's like, of course you'll spend more if you know that they'll give you more money back for your Shopify store, for your e-commerce store, right? And besides that, let's switch off to CBO, because with ABO you have control, full control. Then with CBO you have less control, because the thought process with a CBO campaign is to put all your ads or ad sets, to be more precise, in one campaign, and then let the algorithm decide on which of those ad sets it wants to spend on, right? And then Advantage Plus is very similar to CBO, so you are still letting the algorithm do a lot of the work, most of the work, but here you don't even have multiple ad sets. You just have one ad set, and the goal is just to have as many ads as possible, right? And this is what Meta will push, what Meta reps will push, and there is some truth behind it, right? Because even right now, for this store, right, I actually had to, let me see if I can go back into it or not. So even for it, for this store that's like at 29k right now, by the way, we have another one at I think, all right, this is like middle of March. I mean, it's not that important, right? Middle of March, around 5k, so that's a smaller one. But the main idea is the following, that you can see 28k installs right there, right? And in terms of the structure for the Facebook ad account, it's just like 2 Advantage Plus campaigns, 1 Advantage Plus with videos and 1 with images. And let me tell you why it was an Advantage Plus and not an ABO, which I usually prefer. And that is just because I didn't have time. I didn't have enough time, and it was on a very short notice, a launch, and basically we had to do the 80-20 analysis, right? What's the least amount of things we can do to get the most amount of money? And basically it was to put the ads in one place, let Meta decide, but not waste like 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe even more one day, just to get some ads up in a specific structure, because that's the best practice, right? And so on. Because like I said, Meta reps will say Advantage Plus in most cases, but most of them are useless, to be fair. Like if you don't spend enough on an ad account, like if you don't spend at least 50 or 100k, you will probably get one of those reps that have almost no idea what they're saying, right? And I think one light just died behind us, right? So I'll have to charge it, whatever. We're going raw here. So coming back to the free options that you have on Meta, right? The thing is that it's definitely more important what type of creatives you have, right? But all things equal, let's say that you have the same amount of creatives. The thing is that each one has advantages and disadvantages. For example, Advantage Plus, the advantage, pun intended or not intended, is that it's actually the easiest. And basically for many media buyers, employees, even business owners, right, that are busy with other things, you're trying to do things as fast as possible, right? So you'll just do like I did right now, put 1-2 Advantage Plus campaigns, let them run and do their thing, right? Because if you have good creatives, or the right creatives, but that sounds really strange, if you have decent creatives, then you will have some amount of success, right? Meta is still a platform where you can advertise and have a good life if you advertise the right product. And the other thing is that in an ideal world, this is my point of view, which I would say is one that's well thought out, but at the same time, it's not the most effective, right? It's just like if you would want your ideal life to be the healthiest, right? Or like if you would want to be the healthiest person in the world, if you would want to live forever, right? Because you want to enjoy life, to stay with your family and so on. Like if you would want to do that, you would never touch alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, right? For example. However, how many of us do that, right? Even though we know we should not even touch them, we probably do it, right? So, and if we don't do that, we probably do something else. Scroll on TikTok. Maybe just have too much caffeine, right? Because I mean, it's very easy to say I don't smoke, I don't drink, but then I take so much caffeine, right? Just made a rhyme there without wanting to. But the thing is that in a perfect world, right, you would do all the right things, but you won't do all the right things. As much as I would want to seem like the perfect person, right, when it comes to doing this type of job, I also have to weigh like what's the best thing to do right now for this brand, for this particular scenario, right? So this is where it actually really matters how much experience you have. And for example, I know that there are levels to this game. For example, I know that maybe I look too much at the Facebook ad account, maybe I look too much at creatives, when it's actually maybe the landing page that matters more, right? So everything really matters. That's why it's really important to understand multiple things. And the thing is that because I do work with brands that are either spending so much that they don't even see some inefficiency, or brands that are having a hard time actually being profitable, right? Because e-com is not easy. That's why in most cases I would recommend ABO, because you have more control. And if you don't like having control, I don't know, you just like being a submissive person, I don't know. Because why would you not want to have control if you know that will help? The thing is that if you work with an agency, with a freelancer, of course, they won't care about your product, your company as much, right? But if you know better, I mean, it's hard not to do it, right? It's just like initially you might have not, maybe you didn't have a fast phone until you get a fast phone. And then when you get it, you see just how important it was to actually have it, right? Doesn't matter if you paid 5 times more, 10 times more. The result is like 50 times more in terms of how much time and money you make or save. And then same with the second monitor, right? I mean, there's a reason why so many people have a second monitor. Does it mean that you can like live life with one monitor? I mean, you can even be more efficient in some cases, but there is definitely a 5% or so improvement depending on your job, right? I mean, even if you're coding, it kind of helps. If you like to learn, it kind of helps. If you like data, it helps. I mean, in almost all cases, if you're not distracted, some things like will help you, right? And I know this is like covering a lot of things here, but there's so much, like I could talk probably 1 hour just about ABO, 1 hour just about CBO, 1 hour just about Advantage Plus. So the main thing is just use what you think makes the most sense. And this is how you actually get knowledge and experience, right? If you don't test them all, you'll never know. I mean, you might find out from someone else, right? But if you're not in a mentorship program, if you're not in some kind of community, if you're not part of anything, or you're not actually in an agency or actually having a brand or working with brands, I mean, you probably don't know this, right? That's why I work with business owners, because most of them like don't have time, right? Like they are much better at product. They are much better at customer avatars, right? Sometimes, I mean, for example, can I do research and understand the avatar of a brand and so on? Yeah, I can do it, but it takes time away from other things, right? And it's same with business owners. Like if they think too much about creatives, if they think too much about media buying, if they think too much about their landing page. I mean, there's not enough time in a day to do all of them. Of course, unless you want to hustle a lot, and that is an option, especially in the beginning. But over time, you do need to specialize and work with other people who are better than you, right? Because that's why I'm also in like a mentorship program, and I've usually started by paying $100 in the beginning, then maybe $1,000 for a community, then 3.5K for a mentorship, right? And so on. So the value just increases. It's like the admission cost to open the door, right? And it's same on Meta. You first have to start spending initially, and then of course you'll spend more, you'll actually get access to better talent, right? To people who would help you and so on. Because for example, even my time is limited, right? I can get on calls all day and just yap and chat with different brands. I mean, if we don't work together, I mean, I get on a call with a brand that might be a good fit for me to work with them, right? I might get on a call, maybe on a second to present a proposal, but that's pretty much it. Like, we're not making a podcast series, right? We're not going on a third, fourth, fifth call just for the sake of it, right? Because like we have work to do, we have business. And yeah, that's really important to know that in terms of which one of the three wins, well, it depends. And that's the answer. Use whichever you need at a specific time. Just like with magnesium, there are three types of magnesium, right? And usually you go with one. You don't take all 3 or 4 just because it takes you more money, more time, more mental bandwidth, right? So you need shortcuts. And to come up with a conclusion here, basically, if you have time and you are short on cash and you need good results, ABO is ideal. And if you are just like trying to find a winner as fast as possible, you'll probably need to lean on Advantage Plus, on Meta, and just like hope for the best, right? Like pray that Meta will actually give you results. While with ABO, you have more control because you decide each ad how much it deserves based on what you believe, based on prior data. Do you believe this is like a bottom of the funnel ad, which is not scalable? It is more of a top of the funnel ad, which is more scalable. So there are multiple components. But those were my thoughts because yeah, right now it's a busy season actually. End of Q1, it's 28th of March, Friday. Same day I will be posting it as always. And we're entering Q2 and then Q3 and then Q4, which is definitely the best. But until then, you have to go through these phases, right? Like Q1 wasn't as easy, to be fair. Then Q2 and Q3 depends on the brand, but usually it's not the best. It's not either of them. It's not the best quarter for none of the brands out there. Like it might be Q4 for most, 80% maybe. Q1 might be for 15%, right? And maybe there are 5% out there who have Q2 and Q3 as their biggest times just because, who knows, they have a sale or anniversary during that time. But otherwise, or Prime Day, right? Otherwise, no chance. So that's pretty much it in terms of the main things I wanted to cover. Hope this helped you in some way or another. If you've listened to it in the background, right, just like I've done like for years with a lot of info, and that's how you gain some knowledge. And then of course you need to apply it, because if you never apply it, and I've been actually guilty of this a lot in the past, then it's pretty much a waste. So that's why it's always best to put your mouth where your money is. No, actually put your money where your mouth is, right? Which basically means if you actually say something, yeah, prove it. And yeah, that's why I guess I was actually showing the Shopify numbers here, because need to be responsible here for quite a few tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So with that, we'll end. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like. If you have anything to say, just leave a comment. I'll probably be checking them because I'm not that busy with YouTube, meaning that I don't get way too many messages and I just can't read them. Maybe just on Instagram. And until next time, basically, peace out.